Welcome to the Stay Ready Real Estate Podcast, your action plan for real estate success. Here, we stay ready. Staying ready is being mindful of time and actively doing the things on a daily basis so we stay prepared for the opportunities that come our way. Join your host, Emeka, as he dives into the world of real estate investing, interviewing experts and sharing actionable insights. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe today. We would love to know each and every one of you. So please go to ogbonnaequity.com and click Invest with us today so we can figure out how we can get to your investing goals. Darren, thank you for coming on. Can you tell the world a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Sure. I appreciate the opportunity, Emeka. I'm a full-time real estate investor. I have been since 2018. Previous life was a mechanical engineer by trade and joined an education platform for multifamily. Before that, started out with flips and single family rentals, but have just slowly evolved, progressed, however you want to look at it. And now we're into RV parks. And then my wife concentrates on midterm rentals. And we're hoping to build our first new development project in 2025 on a small scale, just my wife and I. Maybe one more partner, but we're hoping to do it by ourselves. So big on physical fitness, big on mindset, love Jesus, and yeah, blessed to be where I am today and love pouring into others when given the opportunity.
No, I love every single bit of that. And you said you were a mechanical engineer. So at what point you said you started with flips, so where did the real estate come in? Like why was that even a thought? Because I'm assuming you were doing well with being an engineer.
Uh, I, I did do well with my salary. I had this entrepreneurial bug, if you will, early on in my career in regards to just wanting to do something on my own. Truthfully, I tried a couple of MLM opportunities, didn't work out for whatever reasons. And then I actually, with a partner, had a concrete coating company that we owned for about 5 years, and we were very successful. But we were trying to find that general manager to run our business, and we could never find that person. And at that stage of my career, we're talking literally almost 20 years ago at this point. I had a family, I had a wife, I had two small children, and he as well. And so we just couldn't devote the time that we needed to that business. We sold that business, made a little bit of money on it. And in 2016, I had a friend of mine that said on a whim, "Hey, let's go to this real estate seminar at this hotel this weekend in Knoxville." And I'm like, "Okay, I've heard you can do great things in real estate, but hadn't done no previous research at all on my own." And it was one of those type situations that you read or hear about where once they get you in there and you put your money down, you're probably eventually going to put some more money down at another date. And that's so I learned about how to flip, buying single family rentals. That was all that program was geared towards. And so I immediately came out of that seminar, and in 2016, some people that are new to real estate may not realize that in 2016, you could literally go on the MLS, buy a house for 60, 70, $75,000, rent it for $1,000 a month, no problem. Maybe have to do a little bit of rehab, if any. That was common. You were finding stuff on the MLS. Wholesalers still existed, but that's before the market got crazy, at least here in the Knoxville, East Tennessee area. So I had five single families and a triplex at one time, and it was flipping about a half a dozen homes a year, still holding my W-2 job. And the blessing that came from my W-2 job, and I think you might be leading down this road, so I'm just going to answer it for you quickly. I was laid off from my W-2 position, which was a blessing in disguise because it allowed me to focus. I already knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to do real estate, and then after I was laid off, I found out about multifamily, and then it was just 100 miles an hour with multifamily, cash in my 401, my stock options, anything that I had in savings of any type. I threw it all at multifamily, and then all that time, energy, and effort I would spend on my W-2 went focused solely on my business and my education and connections. And so here we are today. I'm so glad it happened that way, as I didn't have to that removed a decision from me that I did not have to make. But I knew mentally where I wanted to be. And when it happened, to be honest with you, it was it was almost like God lifted this burden for me and said, "I'm about to bless you with this opportunity, and here's how I'm going to do it." And that's how I looked at it. I looked at it as I'm about to strap on the football pads and go play a different game. And I cherished it for that reason, to be honest, if that makes sense.
No, I love that. It's funny because I would actually say that's an opportunity, right? Like
Yeah.
you got laid off from your job, and then instead of you had the opportunity to either just go full in or maybe look at something that's a little bit more secure, right?
Yeah,
And that's amazing. And you said that you went to, the seminar for flips and rentals, and then immediately you tried what they were telling you to do. I would argue that most people don't do that, right? They think about it, they maybe read more books about it for another year or two, and they have analysis paralysis.
true.
But do you think action is the number one thing that kind of help you get over that hump?
Yeah, action is the number one thing that helped me. You can't figure everything out in this real estate game and before you make a decision, because if you do, you're going to be sitting there 6 months, a year, 18 months, 2 years from now, and it's just going to be something else that you tried. You can't try, you got to do it. And you hear this a lot, but it's ready, fire, aim. It's not ready, aim, fire. Educate yourself, make connections as best you can, and I believe that the most successful people in real estate at some point during their journey have lost money. It could be $5, it could be $50,000. I just believe that there's some risks that some people take, and I've done it. I've lost money. So, but it's also a mindset of, okay, well, it's only money. Can I learn from that opportunity? I don't look at them as failures. We call it learning forward or failing forward. I like to use that terminology because then you can apply that to the next opportunity that comes along and not do those same things or do something differently. You figured out what you did wrong or what possibly went wrong the next time you go, but you don't just quit what you're doing. And I know a lot of people that do that. I know of a lot of people that have done that in the real estate space, so to speak.
I gotcha. And if you were to, look back at, what you've done and you can rewind time, would you do anything differently the way you got into it? Because obviously you're in, RV campgrounds now. Would you go directly into it or would you keep it the same way as you did?
So my answer is, I'm going to give you two answers. My answer is no. I would not rewind because everything that I've done, including the failing forward opportunities, have gotten me to where I am today. And that's the same way as just your personal life. Everything that you've done up to this point in your life, married, single, whatever, divorced, doesn't matter, has allowed you to become the person that you are now. However, the I would have gotten more education in regards to, I tried doing multifamily on my own before I actually joined an education platform. I joined Jake and Gino back in the day. And before I joined that platform, I thought I could do it on my own and was trying to do everything on my own. That's how I ended up losing some money. But I can tell that story in a room of 100 people and share my successes at the same time and literally have people walk up to me and say, I want to partner with you and you have your next deal. And that you tell that story to people and they go, why would they say that to you? Because you're being authentic and you're being real. They know you're a real person. They know you're not just somebody out here, a salesperson selling them a load of garbage or a program or whatever. And that's happened to me more than once. So if I could, yes, it would be just more the education, the due diligence on a deal, but the education itself. However, no, I wouldn't if I had a crystal ball or the power to do so.
What do you think is the biggest mistake that you see like new people getting into real estate make?
If you're talking from let's take multifamily, for example. If someone wants to get into multifamily and they're not necessarily doing it all their own, but they make good money, they've got some money in the bank, whether it's a self-directed IRA or they're making high six figures and just need somewhere to place their money. I think today the biggest mistake that those people make is they give their money to the wrong sponsor. They've not vetted their sponsor well enough to know that, hey, this sponsor is notorious for taking your 100K and taking a huge acquisition fee and doing this over and over and over, but that they suck at operations and therefore they have to sell their property every 1.5 to 2 years. And you never get a distribution, you never get communication via email, phone call, text, nothing like that. So the answer is vetting a sponsor that has a multifamily deal. In the single family space, it's probably trying too much stuff on their own. There's plenty of people out there that flip houses. There's a ton of them. Go to a local meetup, meet somebody, but try to add some value to somebody that's doing this so they're not necessarily educating you for free unless they need a handyman or something along those lines and you have some of those skills. But I think it's not getting a mentor. You could use that across the board of real estate because I think mentors are extremely important.
No, absolutely. And I love that you actually said that on here because, I've done a deal. Let me rewind. I got into real estate in 2019. That's where I graduated college. I'm the first one to graduate in my family. And then I was making $44,000 a year, and I thought I was rich. Couple months in, right? Okay, I'm working. And then I come home, I sleep, I wake up, then I go to work again. And I was like, well, I got like 50, I got 50 more years of this. And I
Yep.
thought, I thought there had to be something else. So I started reading books, watching YouTube videos, listening to podcasts. And then I jumped right in. I did a year of that, I jumped right in. And looking back at the deals I did, a lot of the mistakes I made could have been avoided literally just from talking to someone who's done it before. But my thought process was, I want to make money on my own. I want to do everything by myself. I don't need anybody.
Right.
And that was a huge mistake. Having, a mentor, as you said, is huge. And the bigger the deal is, the more you have to rely on people and start vetting those people.
Hmm.
And, obviously we're looking at a potential RV park deal. And it's like, this would never work without someone like yourself and the partners that we have, right? So I do appreciate you saying that on here. And since we're talking about RV parks, like, where did that come in for you when it comes to after the flips and such? Why campgrounds? Why mobile homes? Why is that an attraction for you?
I love telling this story because it's a total reflection of the connections you make and adding value to people. So I went from single family homes and flips to multifamily quickly, scaling multifamily quickly, got sold all the single families and used that money to pour into multifamily as well. And we also lost my train of thought there about multifamily. Yeah, I'll come back to it. Got into multifamily, and then based on a relationship, an acquaintance, to be honest with you, of someone that was a realtor that my wife knew, that my wife and I were dating at the time, she started showing me single family flip opportunities that were on market, and I could just see that maybe this is going to go somewhere, maybe it's not. We never really had an opportunity to take one down. It didn't make sense. Most of the stuff was listed, but we built sort of a relationship, right? So becoming more familiar. Out of the blue one day, she sends me a text and says, "Would you be interested in an RV park?" And this is 20, this might have been 20.
Mhm.
And I said, sure, if the numbers work, send me the financials. Well, one of my main partners, who we've known each other since 2017 and done all our multifamily together up to this point, and our RV parks and campgrounds, with the exception of a couple now, we've branched off doing some of our own things. I called him and I said, hey, we don't know how to underwrite an RV park, so let's make some calls. So we called some people that we knew that were already in the industry, did some research on our own, learned how to underwrite them with the numbers that we had. We knew we had an opportunity with this first one, which was located in the Smoky Mountains of East Tennessee near Knoxville. And I called the broker, I say broker, she was a realtor, called her back and I said, when can you get me on site? And it was literally less than a week later that I was on site with her and the intended listing agent. And reason I say intended is it never got listed. So I remember this day, the intending listing realtor ironically used to manage the RV park like for 3 years, a year prior to that, and she wanted to get into real estate. And so this is what she was doing, and the owner and basically the CFO threw her a bone and said, all right, we're going to let you try to sell this for us because we're ready to sell. So we were there for an hour. It was pouring down rain. We were riding around in her big SUV around the property. I was asking all kinds of questions. I started asking questions that they could not answer. And so she got the CFO on the phone, and we were there for another hour. And I was asking the CFO a bunch of questions. And he ran the accounting and financial aspects of all these guys, this one person's companies. And one of them just happened to be this RV park. Well, this gentleman knew people that my wife knew because of where he's from and she's from in Southwest Virginia. And they knew common people. And to be honest, it was one of those, we call it the good old boy mentality. And for people that have heard of that and think, oh, you Southerners are full of poop. This is a real thing. And it's even beyond a level of a connection. It's another level of a connection. Well, these good old boys, and he and I at the time hit it off, and they never listed the property. And I guess he had the faith that we were going to take it down. We ended up taking that down with another partner that already had a management company for RV parks in place that was very successful in the space. Someone I had met back and Jake and Gino through the years. And so before we even closed on that one, we went to look at another one down the road because now we were excited about them and they were listed. Before you know it, we're looking at 3 of them at one time and closed on all of them. And since then, we've closed on 3 more. So the space is what I would say. You hear about the mobile home park space maybe 10-ish years ago. You could literally knock on someone's door, an owner or whatever, and call them and buy a mom and pop place. And you could immediately raise rents upon takeover, make a couple changes, and do anything deferred maintenance wise with the infrastructure that needed to be done, whatever, separate meter, the water, electric if needed, and immediately you're getting 20%, north of 20% cash on cash returns. That was common. And then investor office money, family office money, and institutional money found out what a great investments these were. And they were coming along then and paying way over what people wanted for them or what they were worth. But they didn't care because they wanted to make their 2 or 3 or 4% return for their multimillionaire investors. Well, the RV space is still good, ripe for the picking at this time, meaning we can go still find a mom and pop that it's become it's all they do. They run that park. They don't put money back into it. They close down for 3 months and they all go to Florida and hang out during their vacation time. They don't have enough amenities or the right amenities. They may not be using an industry accepted software where people can make reservations online. There's just a lot of management inefficiencies that are out there. And so there's still opportunity to be able to pick off some today. So I know I said a lot more than what your initial question was, but it's because an opportunity came along. And what I've learned is I started with single family and flips, evolved to multifamily, and almost everything you do can work for RV parks with some tweaks based on numbers and occupancy and things like that. It's not all the same, but you evolved to that. And now our next foray is to do new development, small quadplex or 2 on an acre or something, just for Penny and I, kind of our retirement slash, fun money type investment. So I think you gain that confidence, but don't think for a minute that we call everyone we knew that were into RV parks or something along those lines. Penny started her own midterm rental coaching business. She's called a bunch of people, talked to people, and now we'll do the same for new development. Someone I just found out was doing new development, didn't even know they were doing it. And he's a really close friend of mine. And I'll be picking his brain and be like, all right, I'm going to do a project in such and such. Tell me what to do or how to do it, right?
No, I love all of that. And what would you tell people if you can give 3 actionable steps that people can do today to either get in real estate or get over the hump to get that next deal? What are the 3 actions that you would recommend people to do today in order to get their next deal?
To get the next deal if they're already in the game or they want to get in the game.
If they want to get in the game.
If you want to get in the game, attend a local meetup wherever you are. There's people there that the beauty of going to meetup is you're going to meet a handful of people, let's say 10 people. Let's say there's 100 people, but you're not going to have a chance to talk to all of them. You're going to meet 10 people. Try to talk to all those 10 people based on who they are from what they've said they're doing or other people have said about them that they're doing. Pick their brain. They'll give you time at a meetup. They may even, and then offer to go take them to lunch, take them to coffee, and, see if there's a way you can add value to them before just saying, all right, give me all the knowledge and help me get my first deal. You got to add value to people. And a lot of times, this is the thing that people make a mistake on if they want a mentor is it is extremely difficult. If someone was to come to me and they would say, what can I help you do? I'm really not going to know what that is because I don't know that person. I don't know their skill set. I will say to them, here's how I run my business. Here's what we do. You figure out how you can add value to me, and then we'll talk. You're kind of putting onus on them to test their desire to really, really do this. You're just not going to hand them the playbook and do everything, right? But connect with somebody, a mentor, And then, man, YouTube, there's so much free education out there. YouTube, educate yourself. But I would start with the networking first, because while YouTube's going to give you all the information, just free information, a podcast, whatever it is, you can do all that, but then you have to go apply it. And the easiest way to apply it is go talk to someone that's already used it to apply it, because applying it, I could say to you, go apply it, but how do you apply it? That's a big thing too. And then read books, just books about real estate. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Obviously, everyone should read that. Millionaire Mindset, Tribe of Millionaires. Some other ones that just make you sort of start thinking differently.
No, I love that. And with that, we're going to move on to the next segment of the show where I ask every guest the same three questions. Question number one, what two books would you recommend an aspiring investor to read?
The first one would be The Go Giver by Bob Berg. And the reason is you will identify with one of the 5 characters in that book, which will enable you to understand what your skill set is and or could be in the investing world. I highly recommend that one. I'm going to name 3 actually. Who Not How is, once you're into the game, or I say game of real estate, you need to figure out what is the best use of your time, what is the best income producing activities that you should be doing to advance and scale your business. What are the activities that do not do that for you that you can get someone else to do? Figure out, do research on virtual assistants. It will make a game changer in your life. And then the third one would be Tribe of Millionaires. I mentioned that one sort of briefly, but Tribe of Millionaires is written by the guy that started, oh God, I'm drawing a blank on the name of the mastermind. Sorry.
I can put it in the show notes, no worries.
Yeah, he can't remember the guy's name. It'll give you just a total perspective, different perspective on how connections work and how you surround yourself. There's a saying that you are the sum of the 5 people you hang around with. It goes along those lines, but takes it to an extreme level, and it'll blow your mind how reciprocal the world is if you have that mindset and get around the right people that want to pour into you, and vice versa.
Oh yeah, and just to add a little caveat to that, you realize that like famous people tend to hang out with other famous people, and
Yeah,
they're a different class, and
yeah,
it's right in front of us. I don't think people really realize it, so it's pretty
I agree.
interesting.
Yeah.
So, but question number two is, what has been the most impactful speech or lesson that has helped you in your career?
Feature lesson. I'd have to go with lesson, and the lesson is, well, I'll do both. The lesson would be when I tried to do multifamily on my own in 2017 before I joined an education platform, I lost $56,000. The reason I lost $56,000 was because I had $20,000 of earnest money hard and backed out of the deal because I met a property manager to that local area that I'd only known for literally an hour and said, I'm not going to let you buy this property. And I said, you don't even know me. And the more we sat in that office, and she gave me the reasons why it was not a good property based on crime. I had done my research on a 2-mile radius, but not a half-mile radius. Sounds really goofy. You'd think it'd be included in the same one, right? But she knew things about the property that I did not know. And then the broker threatened to sue me, and so I had to pay out another $36,000. That's the story I'm telling you that I would tell. So the lesson there is do your due diligence and don't do anything of that nature or that size alone. It was 70 units. Just don't do it. And then what was the other one beside lesson? Speech. If people don't know who this is, please look them up on YouTube. Inky Johnson. He's a former Tennessee football player who was paralyzed from his right shoulder all the way down to his arm as a result of a play back in 2006. He was a projected first-round draft pick that following year, but now he's one of the greatest, most motivational speakers around. Loves Jesus. Just about perspective and mindset. Perspective. I can't echo that word enough. A lot of people freak out. Oh my gosh, you lost $56,000. What did you do? I went and joined an education program and vowed I'd never do it again, and then started partnering with people that were smarter than I, that had done what I wanted to do. Go find somebody that's done what you want to do. There's not many wheels you can reinvent at this point in history. Somebody's done the wheel. Go use the same wheel and avoid those roadblocks or whatever. So he's just a great guy that I love listening to. His about perspective of life is amazing.
I love it. And last question If you could have dinner with anyone dead or alive, who would it be and why?
I thought about this when I saw that you sent this one. Man,
It's a tough one.
you struck a nerve with me. I didn't think because someone just occurred to me. So I'm going to say two. Abraham Lincoln, because I think that he was president during one of the toughest times in our country, and just all that was going on with the Civil War, the reasons why, and his actual battle to get to the presidency, of all the things that he went through to get there beforehand. He could have given up politics, but he didn't. So he had an appointed time by God to be president at that time. And the second person, I'm sorry, I'm an emotional dude. This is just who I am, raw. The second person would be my grandfather. So most people have two grandfathers. My grandfather, my mom's father, he died when I was just 10 years old. But I worship the ground that man walked on. He died of a massive heart attack at 66 years old, gone way too soon. He had just retired from Eastman Kodak Company in Kingsport, Tennessee. But I wish I could now, as a man, at 10 years old, you don't talk about a lot of adult stuff with your grandfather at that point in time, or even your father. As a father, you're trying to pour into your son or your children, but just a great man that I admire and respect to this day, even though it's been so long since he passed. Yeah,
No, I love
I
all
apologize,
every
man.
no, you're all good. I love everything about it. It's very genuine and raw. How can the audience reach out to you? How can we help you? Yeah, how can we help
People can just call or text me on my phone, 865-310-6362. I don't have a big fancy email. It's D, my first initial, Light, my last name, D Light, and the last four digits of my phone number, dlight6362 at Gmail. I've had it for years. Myself, our potential partners, we're always looking for capital if people want to invest with us. We're also always looking for opportunity in RV park space. Multifamily's finally coming back around where things make sense on paper as far as purchasing. We're definitely open to, and it doesn't have to be, the largest multifamily you've ever purchased was 68 units. We don't have to buy, 100 and up to be successful with somebody. If somebody found something that they're interested and they know their market well where they are, we don't have to be there. If somebody's willing to be boots on the ground, we're always open to a 10, a 20, a 30, a unit, whatever it makes sense. And so, yeah, and I'm always available for just people want to pick my brain on anything. I love trying to help people and pour into them in whatever capacity I can, because it's always going to come back to you, man. That's the way the universe works. That's also scripture. And it may not come back to you in the form of money. And you may not ever know what form it comes back in, but it always comes back to you. So that's kind of my motto.
No, I love it. Well, Darren, thank you so much for joining the show, and I look forward to having you back again soon.
Thanks, Mecca. I appreciate you, brother.